Hello and welcome to Media Watch for this fala fortnight. And today, mi bara happy for welcome journalist Evan Wasuka with him Douglas Marau lo show me for this fala week. And Evan hemi waka with him ABC and hemi cover plan the stories from Pacific, including Solomon Islands. And of course, Douglas Marau hemi one fala journalist by profession. And hemi waka lo press secretariat lo office lo prime minister. And hemi also vice president lo Media Association of Solomon Islands, MASI. And as usual, lo Media Watch, me host and moderator, Gina Kekea, look forward for me stop sit down together for the next 30 minutes. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. And thank you for availing yourselves for this Fala Media Watch. Our topic of discussion for this week, Baba Hemi, based around the theme, Free Media Against Disinformation and Propaganda. But before we discuss further, Evan, ABC, what's an interesting story that you've covered the Pacific region and you'd like to share with him, Yumi?
Gina, mostly ABC waka blomimi waka with Pacific beat, so we look lo news all around the Pacific. But lately, we have a story when we cover to do with decision by Oversight Committee for blocking motor passengers from Australia for Kamlo flight last Friday. So for that one, we had contact with the Attorney General and also the Ministry of Health for just to confirm that story and just to find out why not stopping passengers who come on that flight last Friday. Only the passengers from New Zealand who come along with cargo weekly flight on Friday. So that's one for Ranim we forget which day for Ranim, but for me for doing the morning show and we got a health minister, Dr. Kalwek Togomana, have not come on air for story. Friday morning, same time before flight him come from Brisbane. Dr. Togomana come on air before interviewing him for about 10 minutes or so, him explaining the reason behind why that decision was made and because of this for outbreak, Delta strain, Australia. That was an interesting story. Really good response from Ministry of Health. Attorney General have come back with a statement the following day, but that's one story when we cover about Solomon Islands and I'm happy with how government, different ministries to respond to request from me.
So you not find it difficult to get the minister come on?
With the Ministry of Health, I think because of the current experience with COVID-19 and the need for respond law journalists really fast. So we've had actually good relationship with the Moketa and that response has come quite fast. Unfortunately, at another ministries, we've had the same experience. We have issues with them, people responding to requests or comments. But the Ministry of Health, that was a really good response. And Dr. Togomana, I'm confident and I'm willing to talk live on air and respond to the hard questions as well.
So it was live?
Yes.
And what time in the morning?
So that one come out 6:15 in the morning.
Oh, so that was very early.
Yes. But it was good interview.
I think you must get a tip from anyone about the arrangements for no alarm flight passengers from Australia? Or?
Actually, yes. On Wednesday night, we started hearing information that this fella decision him come in. Some fella people that should fly come on Friday, they were told that they couldn't come on that flight because of the situation there. And then for the next day or so, we try to confirm an official side law things there before running any story, just to get that verification that this is actually what's happening. And then that came, and then we ran the story the next day. Yeah.
So was it covered from the Prime Minister's office as well, Dagi? That fella story about the flight from Australia not allowing passengers from Australia for Kamlo Solomons. Did you cite it anywhere in your articles last week? No?
No. In fact, Prime Minister made a statement about it yesterday in the weekly address. Basically, just to clarify, I don't know why passengers over there are not allowed to come. As you sabi, I think it's still a Delta variant COVID. Yeah? What's much more dangerous than it's a new wave, much more dangerous than the old one. So you need a little bit, take a little bit precaution. It's a precautionary measure just for make sure you remove COVID cover. I think same apply to the same one to the Fiji. So it was mentioned in the speech yesterday.
And the way where ABC managed to get them information, that's very good, eh? Especially getting the minister.
I think that's basically how you're supposed to do things. Mostly, sometimes you just sit back and wait the information come in. Whilst you got every opportunity, every door is open for calling Minister of Health or other ministers for getting right information. I think now the way forward, you know, taking information about social media more than try for development stories. So
I think that the relationship too is important with the ministry, having that ability to reach out and talk to them when you have questions. They have a good communications person there, so he's also a good access point. But then also the minister is very open and he's willing to talk. So if we can have more of those across the government, all 20 ministries, 25 or so, that would be really good.
You know, a little bit worried, no good na, 6 o'clock in the morning, if I ring, but phone power off. There were worries, but then you were able to get confirmed,
Yes, we were able to set up the interview and then do it with his cooperation.
So how long did you follow up? Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday you were able to get the minister for live, and then you do the news itself,
Yeah.
For you, Mililo, usually one fala problem waka journalist sabi talem olowe na kan access mo kata people, especially if you take a minister or sem, you barava A+ na for take them for speak law issues, but that was one of the issues where plan the journalist sabi talem olowe karang problem na for accessing na kata people for respond kind of sem.
It depends on the question, I mean, if you want a policy question and minister, or if it's an operational thing or something, then by TS or director. So you have to make sure you ask the right person the right question to it. So you must understand a bit about whatnot that you ask him. So I think you don't want to waste the minister's time on questions where Baham no sabe or it's nothing to do with him wakabulahem too. So I think maybe you, me as a journalist, need to be a bit more aware of what.
Muna for posing question lahem,
Yes.
And Dagi, from the place where you sit on LEM, do you get journalists asking for assistance for get them answers, lot questions blocked to, or directing you, or facilitating questions on their behalf too?
Yeah, well, for Prime Minister himself, yes, because we work directly under him. Mostly for other ministers now. Sometimes we will say level sa talent. I think it's good for you to respond on this one. So suppose any issue where deal with it don't come out. Basically, I'm go back to him with him PS plan, how to follow up something, and you will just help him about that. Just for it's good to clarify issues. Sometimes you need understand most of the times but journalists even outside and local journalists so I ask them for
exclusives.
Exclusives. Exclusives. But sometimes over the post no current time, maybe sometimes over the just busy no, but most of the time we will say encouraging for at least must
Speak law media.
We can attempt for speak law media.
Think what a Friday media or?
Well, you know, sabi. But mostly we find out some there is a need for awareness to law. People inside the government itself, or how importance of responding to media. Why it is important for giving information for public sabi. Some fala understandable o kota a little bit media shy a little bit.
Shiloh speaking in
yeah.
public.
Most of the time you mean just worry naman no you tell him something or him a little bit. So, slip of a tongue na you talk wrong. So.
Ano mo yung headline next day?
So yeah, him na out of few issues, but as much as possible, encourage him about that. You must go out on media, respond to the queries.
Any comments from you, Evan mo?
No, I think it was a good experience with them, that one. Not all the that was, I think, a special one, I think, because a lot of the times we struggle to get responses from the government as well. Yeah? Sometimes maybe the person doesn't have the authority to talk to us, worried about the political repercussions, what might happen if I talk wrong or anything like that. So every time I come on, I always talk about how the permanent secretaries need to be more confident to speak out. So I think that's my message too. I think for government officials to be more confident to come out and say things on the record. Yeah, I mean, if it's your special area, you should be able to talk about it and talk publicly and make comments. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tomas, for sharing story Blayumilo that one. Now, also me talem kam earlier about theme Blayumia, free media against disinformation and propaganda. And disinformation sometimes so refer to him as false or fake news and also propaganda too. Plan de looking mosem hemi one fala threat lo the democratic societies. Yeah. Now for you me osem one fala democratic society, freedom of expression or free communication of ideas and opinions. Hemi one look at the most precious rights lo you me at the people na ya. And every citizen sabe speak right with him freedom, but also hemi come with him responsibility because abuse lo this for freedom hemi baba also got him repercussions play him, and if charged and found guilty by courts baba got sabe penalized for him. But apart from that, Yumilo media too, the freedom of the press hemi one for principle where communication and expression blow news or through various media. Hemi barava important. Media freedom, imi sabe say basically mainly freedom of media for receiving and giving out information without fear or intimidation. And one fala time we talk about propaganda, not only propaganda against him government, but also narrative within social media. Hemi come up to against him professional standards, blow journalists and the core values of journalism. Where this one him no violating international laws, but him go against him professional standards and core values for journalism where you to follow lo table coming from journalism background, you follow hold high or you may hold him high to masya. Now seeing social media, him one for a platform where him bar of free, people express him about level freely, good for that. But when it comes to mediums where okata using awesome news platform, so you tell them news, come with the principles for journalism na ya, and then okata service say this and have freedom of expression. But for you milo journalists, freedom of expression, also when you journalist, you come with him core values where you bring him come and differentiate him you a little bit from the rest. I've seen a few articles where I'm circulated on social media, and I'm a little bit worrying for us. I'm sure you'd follow also citing articles where I'm shared via social media or digital platform in the name of news, but I'm a little bit lacking substance blow, the work of journalists. Evan, I'll start with you. Like, being a journalist and you're sharing your stories on social media, what values do you, as a journalist, carry with you even when you share your story on social media?
I think when it comes down to writing a story, sharing it, it comes down to the basics of journalism. I mean, this is things we were we started off in this career with. It's the basics about making sure what you're writing is as true as you can get it to be, balancing it out, verifying the information, because at the end of the day, your reputation is on the line. Yeah? This career, this job relies on you having a good reputation, that people can trust you, people respect you, and they know what you're writing is true. Yeah. So all those things come into play when you're writing your stories. You need to be able to write confidently, but also to be able to substantiate what you're writing. So I think when it comes down to it, just comes down to the basics. And if you atau man when wakalo inside the industry, and if you miss follow through with them with the basics, yeah, I mean, everything should be okay, no man. But you have to make sure, especially on social media, where opinions and unverified information have come inside, you have to make sure that yourself, your work is up to standard. Yeah?
For you, Dagi?
Yeah, we agree with him. As in talent, basics for journalism is really important. Your responsibility as a reporter to inform people with accurate information. Yeah? In terms of social media, talking about fake news and other something. Of our past episode of Media Watch, we a little bit mentioning the need for people, our viewers, our readers, to identify which platforms now it's the right platform where you should access your information, which platforms now So, me also mentioning we have our traditional medias where you me Holem Musel or now news medias where news or the filtering go through process for editing and even come out to social media. When we talk about in, like you say, some of the international platforms, we also have our local platforms too, where at this time they call themselves as outlet for looking at
Watchdogs.
Watchdogs, or news pages or groups. Yeah, no anything wrong with them. At the end of the day, as we tell them, people have responsibility for looks out which platform or which group now with the filtering news blog, which one now with the ride and rumors, which one now with the just because there are platforms where everything come no, and you may just so everything you just go. No any one filter and anything, everything just out in the open.
And then instances where you have articles writing on platforms where they call themselves a news body, but they don't have the name of the writers. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I think time situations are questionable. I mean, you need to know who is it, which organization writing story, who are they, where are they based, do they have any agenda, kind issues or some the reader and the person where consuming of the stories I need for think about it, to be more critical about what now you look like him. Or the good reputation is for the organization. Also, we tell them reputation have no one for key something. And the companies where work inside this space, they go through a lot of effort to maintain that reputation. Yeah? Also, we follow the ABC. I think a little bit lucky for the system in place where the editorial standards and people check you, but if you make a mistake, but call you out. We forgot the lawyers when we need to go through for cases where I'm sensitive and there's a risk of legal action. You go through the legal process. Those things are there because ABC is a big organization, got resources, so be fortunate for that access. But for everyone. I think you always have to be your own lawyer, your own editor, your own proofreader, just to be able to do your work properly.
Putting on your vice president hat as a MASI, you see MASI hemi try best plehem for kamapum now level blow journalists play Yumia law country. And then we see, some news where him come out where him not come from our local media, but it carries local stories. I would give an example, would be one where him cover story about him Prime Minister, yeah? I think you read him that one about Prime Minister, the speech play him lo PRC, yeah? And I think you also make comments to that on the social media, but that in itself, like when we talk about headline last time, where he misleading public, that one was one for a misleading headline too, where headline him different. If you go through the story, him different. Where him undermine him now, waka where you may do him for building na media industry blow you me, yeah? What can you say about that? That's on your heart as a MASI executive.
Thank you, Gina. In fact, yes, what a kind of story was in there, our own opinion as vice president. I'm quite, I'm put him down a little bit. Not only standards, but reputation for local media. Most of our journalists, young journalists, and upcoming ones, even us, we are trying our best to raise the media standard here. And then you have these so-called, media organizations just coming here. Question now is, are they even based here? Do they have any reporters here? Kind of thing. I think we have no one for example where you give about the byline stories, about the staff reporters. And you know who know. These are kind of the organizations where discouraging vocabulary. Most of our journalists here, although young, new law industry, but they are doing a very good job. Yet, such organization just come on board and one fella something where I am portraying across the board is giving a bad perspective of government. The government looking at me also, time him, even though him come out from what time him publish out the media also, or whatever covering you may everyone also, people here, journalists here, media. So you may everyone you caught up inside now. That story itself, you read it. I'm gonna have a nice catchy headline. But content blaming, I'm just talk about basically what the Prime Minister was saying at that event. So there was no mention of anything insulting as stated at the headline. So yeah, these are kind of the tactics or maybe agendas by some so-called media organizations. But you must careful.
Yeah, I think that first story where him come out and him this fellow organization, Pacific Advocate, him come up on Facebook. I think headline was questionable. When you click inside the story, actually what mentioned in the headline, him no appear inside the body of the story. Sabe huna write him story and it raises a lot of questions. Yeah? And I'm good for time we look him stack a comment come inside the comment section with that follow story on Facebook and journalists, people were questioning source. So it's this type of being critical, questioning. It's good to see that happening. Even though that the whole thing was a bit worrying, to see that type of story come out.
Yeah, I think authenticity blew that follow story too, whether him true, even though people of Solomon Islands, you may get opinions and plan them because you look in the social media what they think. But when that kind of article come out, you can see that people look at the question him too, because the headline itself are different now from what the story was. So I'm good in looking at least people who read him the stories, yeah, or take note and understand him that okay, content him no look straight na yeah, how na osem yeah. So it's good to see our viewers, audiences, where you follow read him about stories, you question him if you look at him no straight, then you say that oh, this one him not genuine, yeah, knowing the genuine story from the articles were not genuine, were on agenda. But anyways, thank you very much, gentlemen. Final comments from you, Fala Noma, for you, me. This Fala topic blow you me at hand, media freedom or free media against disinformation and propaganda. I'll start with you, Dagi, and then Evan, final take notes, please.
Thank you, Gina. I think just for reiterating, not only us, but to our readers and viewers, it's good to stick to our traditional media. Yung garing staka media platforms now, which are social media, comes back to responsibility by you too. So, what information is good for you as an individual, you shall ever by survey, or this one a trusted media site where you get good information for the misal kinds. Also in Italian, there are a lot of questionable platforms out there, so it's good for readers, and then good too for looking under the commentaries, this article when we talk about it. The fact that people start for questioning the source of that information, it shows that people actually sabi which media now to be trusted, which one now questioning. So yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, just to end the show, just to reiterate, call for the ministers, permanent secretaries, next time any journalist call come or email come or try to reach out, just to talk and just to share any information we might gather, or sometimes it might not be on the record, might be off the record, but at least to build that relationship and that sort of try and get that trust happening. Yeah? For the stories time to come out, at least them got input from government and him just not one-sided, and the public in the end got a better understanding of the true picture out there. Yeah? So I think that's where I'd like to end this episode. So.
Thank you, Thomas Douglas, and thank you very much, Evan, and congratulations on getting the minister for live report blahem with him ABC. You may hopefully look in plan them one look at the ministers and of course permanent secretaries so kata step out or kata come out from comfort zone and also keep him what the people me informed what's happening, make him communication time him two-way. By him clear him too the air between government and of course what the people blame. Not only government but also what the law NGOs and private sector. Feel free, media and platform blame everyone, no frighten. We like him better communication for Godly people. Also, you must not frighten media. But anyways, until next time, pamifala come for sit down more. Thank you so much for watching Media Watch. Media Watch, initiative, Blue Media Association of Solomon Islands. Mifala happy for come sit down and story and story mlalebet wakabla mifala media for you follow kata people blue you mean. Thank you, Mijina Kekea.